Hello and welcome to the Rusty Hammers YouTube channel. What you're about to see is a clip from Live on the Bottom Half, a show where we talk about the tournaments we have gone to and performed poorly at. You can catch us live at the Rusty Hammer on Twitch, where we make content for more casual players, including battle tone reviews, list reviews for tournaments. So you can follow us there if you want to catch us live, or like and subscribe here if you'd like to see clips and the show uploaded afterwards. I hope you enjoy what you're about to see. So the next thing to talk about is we're early into a GHB. We had three maps. I hadn't played two of them before. Oh no, I had, and I played a turn and a half of one map before I was beaten. Thanks, Vanguard. So do you have the maps up
Yeah,
there?
I've just brought them up on our screen. So these are the three games that we played.
Excellent, excellent. Yep. So these, yeah, as you say, these are the three maps. I fought Zinch on this one. Who did you fight on limited resources?
I fought my Orc Brutes on this one. So yes, it was. Yeah.
How did you find it?
So in the second
Yeah. So hey, how did you find it? What were your experiences with this map? What did you learn?
So
From
this one, like, because it was game one, I actually kind of almost did my homework on how I was going to set up my army because I had a lot of models on the board. I had a plan about how I was going to get set up, and rule number one, I would suggest everyone remembers: don't forget that there will be terrain on the board. Because I went and set up my models, and then lo and behold, there's a giant hill right slap bang in the middle of my deployment. So I was like, right, okay. And with limited resources, the for those who don't know, basically, if you take an objective and you hold it for two consecutive turns, you then kind of eliminate the ability to control it for the rest of the battle. So it's almost an idea of playing the attrition game and kind of managing how often you're on there. Now, if an enemy takes it off you between those two turns, then it kind of resets the counter for you. What I found though was actually trying to maintain that, particularly with a large, sizable force, was so much harder than I thought. Particularly where my stabbers, they have a special rule which allows them to capture objectives from 9 inches out instead of 6 inches. So they were kind of like on the right hand side of the board, trying to scoot around the 9-inch gap. And with them taking up a whole chunk of the board and the other terrain pieces, I found myself taking my home objectives too early. And I fell prey to the idea that my objectives got squandered. I squandered my objectives too early. And that was kind of one of my downfalls on that map. So yeah, it's much harder than I thought, to be honest. And I think it's because of the terrain. I love to make excuses, and probably just my poor gameplay as well. Um, but I would definitely say that in this instance, it was just the idea that it takes a lot more work. And I'm sure this will be one that will come up in future GHBs because it is quite a set piece. Yeah, I can see that you need to play this a lot with an army that you're going to be playing with to really get your head into the game and understand when you're meant to be taking objectives and how you're going to do it. So that's my experience.
Yeah, that was very similar to mine as well. I think this is a map where you play the map more than you play the opponent. A lot of times everyone's been quite cagey. So when I set, the Zinch player set out first, he was a one drop, and he went back onto one objective on one side. Now my plan originally, I think we spoke about before, was that you take the center, then you fall back as a way of managing that. When he set up that side, I was like, okay, that's not going to work because he's not going to come over to this side. So what I tried to do was do a loop round, so catching and move around the corner of the thing. It didn't work that way, and because hey, no plan works the moment you put your models on the table. But I found it as objective management was super hard. All props to the guy I played against. I took an objective too early, and we had to talk it out about. And wait, you shouldn't take that now because I was under the impression that if you hold it for 2 end of turns, so I take it into my turn, then you take it your turn, then I take it back. It's reset, but that's not how it works. It's consecutive turns, so we had to do a bit of correction there. So on one hand, I'm very glad it was here because I do think this will be something we see in GT packs moving forward, and it is very hard to get your head around. So you need to practice this map because you need to know well, you commit your objective holders, and then who's going to go actually do the fighting?
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to. You need a lot of movement in this map to be able to get there. So gnaw holes are very good for me because I could throw people through my gnaw holes, and when my back ones ran out, I was like, right, I can be over there now. Or for slower armies, like I'm not sure how OBR would do too well, not too well. Like again, it comes down to the person. But it's just a very difficult map to manage, and it was so. Um, when I first saw it as a first one, I was like, why would you put this into a GT or like into a competition? But now I played it, I'm like, no, actually, this is a very different approach to Age of Sigma that we don't see. It's not like hold 1-2 more, kill the other guy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you you work out where you're putting everything, which I really actually ended up appreciating, despite taking the loss.
It was a learning
Yeah,
experience. It was the first time I played it, and ultimately, I think it looks like a lot of objectives and potentially a lot of open board to work around, but it actually isn't. Not when you start getting models on the board and those objectives on there. It's a lot harder than it seems.
yeah, and you do find yourself. I had a situation where a spawn had taken an objective, a Zinjian spawn had taken an objective, and I was doing this weird thing where I wasn't trying to kill it. I was like, no, it stays there because that'll drain his objective. So I had all my gut on. I was like, bat against the side of the board, like, don't touch the spawn because you'll cost him points. And it was a really nice kind of a very different way of playing the game. Whereas normally I'm like, right, body him. That's an easy kill right there. So yeah, there's a lot of time. It's how I was piling in to make sure I didn't touch objectives. How you set up is really, really, and it is. If you are a tournament organizer and you're thinking about your tournaments, please don't put this last. Like, don't make this the last
Oh
game. No one
no,
will do
no.
it. Like it's too long. Like no one would understand the rules. Everyone will be tired. This is a first map. Everyone's fresh or midday map.
Yes,
Don't
yes.
That's
do
your
it.
first or second game.
Yeah, I was going to go second. Yeah. Warm us
Yeah,
up
like,
before bring us into heavy rules.
yeah. If you're putting it third, you are a sociopath because it's just not gonna happen. Jason, have you played this map before?
I haven't. I really want to because I think it'll be a really interesting map to play. I was helping Paul plan this one and how to take objectives, and it's very gameplay rather than opponent, like you're saying. So, like that first turn, if you take first, in the way we were talking to Paul, I take the middles, then fall back to your home, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that first initial taking of the middle, you kind of want to put like one model in there. So you capture the objective, but if the enemy touches it at all, they'll overpower you.
Yeah.
You kind of really, really want them to take it off you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of thing of you don't want to sit and fight on an objective until you really don't care about it. You know, you want to hold, you want to capture and hold, sort of thing. It is a very techie game. I really want to play this one just to try it out.
Yeah. Great.
Like you were saying, OBR. It could be all right for OBR because they're not that far apart. So my movement, even at 4 inches or 5 inches, is still fine. For IDK, we don't care. We all fly. So I'm move 14 inches. So I'm just going to be darting to any objective that I can capture, I will capture, sort of thing.
Yeah. Cavalry better. I'm sticking to my guns on this one. But you're right. Like having an IDK army where you can just swoop up and take an object that's far away is really, really good. And what you're talking about there is like you want them to take the objectives from you. Is the situation with the Chaos Spawn where he wanted me to take it from him.
Yeah.
I was like, no, what bloody way am I letting you get points? It's a really great map. So yeah,
I want to. We'll be playing somebody with it very shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a go, mate.
Absolutely. Do it after having a nice easy day though, because it will ruin your evening how to think about the little text mechanics that come into this one. Particularly when you've got stuff like touch each sides, and a good unit will be touching those objectives. This is a pain. Yeah, get everyone outside of your territory. It's like, well, I'm automatically on 2 objectives for that one, so I'm counting that up anyway. Good fun.